The mop scrapes the fractured tiles of Vytis High, each stroke stirring murmurs from the dark. I'm just the janitor, a wraith in these halls, but I see what others miss, the greed that rides like thorns, not for gold, but for something hungrier, rawer. Pity. It's a poison, and it's carved its name into Domas, that boy with eyes like shattered graves. His stories are wound festering in the walls, and tonight, it'll twist these corridors into a living nightmare. Something ancient treads among us, her steps heavy as stone, and she's here to judge a soul already half broken. Domas was 7 when his parents' car vanished into the icy river, leaving him with a void that screams like a banshee. The neighbors' tears, the strangers' whispered condolences, they dulled the pain for a moment, like a flicker of warmth in a blizzard. But pity became his obsession, a jagged shard he clings to, cutting himself deeper each time. Now, at 17, he's a husk of lies, his mind a labyrinth of trauma and manipulation. The loss didn't just scar him, it shattered him, leaving fragments that crave the sorrow of others to feel whole. He weaves tales of suffering, heedless of the lives he ruins, classmates, teachers, families, chasing the fleeting rush of their sympathy. But the earth hums tonight, and a new girl moves through Vytis High, her hair dark as loam, her eyes carrying the weight of eons. She's no mortal, and the ground itself trembles at her passing. The school's a decaying carcass, peeling paint, flickering lights, lockers clattering like bones. The air's thick with venom, students snarling, teachers blind to the decay. Domas shuffles through, his oversized sweater hiding bruises and scars, some from bullies, some self-inflicted to sell his lies. He doesn't fight back. Pain is his currency. When Lucas, a hulking senior with a predator's grin, slams him into a locker, Domas crumples, his face a portrait of agony, eyes glassy with practiced despair. Miss Jurga, the history teacher, rushes over, her voice quaking. "Domas, are you all right?" she asks, her hand hovering. He nods, trembling, but I see the flicker of need in his eyes as he drinks her pity like poison. Another hit, another howl from the void muffled, though it claws at him still. I'm mopping nearby, unseen, but the shadows speak to me. The boiler room's my sanctuary, where pipes hiss like roots burrowing deep, the air pulsing with secrets. There, I feel her, the new girl, her presence a quake waiting to erupt. Her shoes leave faint trails of dirt, and when she passes, cracks splinter the floor, gone in a breath. She watches Domas, her gaze piercing his lies like a spade through earth. The walls seem to bow to her, drawn to her weight. Domas spins his web, blind to her, his mind a tangle of grief and desperation. In the cafeteria, he tells Emma, a soft-hearted classmate, that his foster parents left him to freeze last night, his voice cracking, hand shaking as he scratches at old scars. It's a lie, his foster mother left him soup, but Emma's eyes well up, and she gives him her lunch money. He takes it, not for hunger, but for the jolt of her sorrow, though his face twitches with guilt he can't name. Later, he tells the counselor his foster father burned him with cigarettes. Another lie, born from nightmares of his parents' screams. The counselor's horror feeds him, even as she files reports that'll destroy his foster family. Each lie keeps him alive, but it's rotting the school, whispers turn to screams, cliques shatter, and the bullies circle closer, smelling blood. The new girl watches, her silence louder than the chaos. In biology, she sits behind him, her fingers grazing the desk, leaving faint moss that vanishes like a dream. When Lucas shoves Domas in the hall, she doesn't react. She stares as he milks the crowd's sympathy with a tear, his hands trembling from the effort to hold himself together. I'm sweeping nearby when her voice cuts through, low as a quake. You feed on their kindness, but it only deepens your wounds. Domas flinches, his eyes darting, haunted by memories he can't escape. The air around her smells of soil, and the lights flicker when she speaks. He doubles down, his lies growing wilder, born from a mind unraveling. He tells the principal Lucas stole his mother's necklace, a phantom relic from the crash, a story so vivid it feels like a ghost. Lucas is expelled, his rage ablaze. The school fractures, students take sides, fists fly, and Domas soaks up the pity, the teacher's concern, the town's murmurs. But the new girl's there, a shadow he can't shake. In the library, she corners him as he spins a tale for Gabija about starving alone. vines slither along the shelves behind her, then vanish. "Your lies are a plague," she says, her voice like grinding stone. "They'll consume you if you don't stop." Domas laughs, but it's fractured, his hands clawing at his arms. He can't stop. The void's a monster, and pity's his only cage. His greed spirals, the stakes climbing. He tells the nurse he's been eating from dumpsters, his foster parents too poor to feed him. The nurse, horrified, starts a fundraiser that engulfs the town. Donations pour in, cameras flash, and Domas is the broken orphan, bathed in sympathy. But his lies unravel lives, his foster parents face public crucifixion, accused of neglect. Lucas, now a pariah, leads his crew to vandalize the school, carving threats into walls. Fights erupt, a teacher's car is torched, and Vytis High teeters on collapse. Domas doesn't see the chaos, lost in the flood of pity, though his nights are plagued by dreams of burning cars and his parents' faces. The ground shakes faintly when the new girl passes, dirt trailing from her shoes, unseen by all but me. Her patience snaps. That night, Domas sneaks into the art room to plant a stolen sketchbook, another lie to bury Lucas, his hands shaking, scars bleeding from his scratching. The lights flicker, the air freezes, and she appears, her form radiating dread. The walls groan, roots bursting through the floor, coiling like vipers. "You fed the beast too long," she says, her voice shaking the earth. "Now it feeds on you." She raises a hand, and the room cracks open like a wound. Domas stands in a vast, icy void, surrounded by writhing, faceless figures, every soul his scarred. Their voices shriek, Emma's trust shattered, his foster mother's sobs, Lucas's life broken, the school a battlefield. Each word is a knife, slicing deep. The ground splits, showing visions, the town shunning his foster parents, driving them out, Gabija, hardened, her kindness gone, Lucas, lost to a gang, his blood on Domas's hands. The school burns in riots, students broken, lives ruined. The pity he craved becomes a choking mire, pulling him under. Shadows lunge, their claws of thorns and stone tearing his skin, blood smelling of earth. Roots bind his limbs, thorns sprouting from his flesh, blooming with his pain. "I just wanted them to care," he screams, voice raw, his body shaking from years of suppressed grief. The girl steps closer, her eyes blazing like molten earth, a faint crown of leaves flickering in her hair. "You stole their hearts and sowed despair. Now reap it." The void shows the future, his foster parents gone, Emma's betrayal, the school a ruin. The pain mirrors his inner torment, endless and raw. He collapses, sobbing, begging, but the shadows don't stop. They rip at his soul, stripping his lies until he's a shattered child, drowning in guilt and loss. The vision spits him back to the art room, blood dripping from thorn wounds, the sketchbook torn at his feet. The roots vanish, the girl gone, but the air pulses with her wrath. Domas stumbles out, face raw with tears, his body racked with sobs. I'm mopping the hall, watching. For a moment, I think he might fight the void, confess, try to stitch the chaos. But the hole in him, gouged by loss and years of self-destruction, is a chasm too deep. The next day, his back, hollower, telling a teacher his foster sister's dying, his voice breaking, hands bleeding from fresh scratches. He can't stop. Pity's his only thread, even as the school crumbles. The fundraiser implodes in scandal, his foster parents flee, disowning him. Lucas's crew sets the gym ablaze, riots tear the halls, and Domas is expelled, the town's pity curdling into hate. He wanders the streets, a wraith in a torn coat, chasing strangers' glances, his mind fracturing under the weight of his own pain. The shadows aren't done. One night, under a bridge where he cowers, the ground splits. Roots surge from the earth, binding his wrists, his throat, thorns piercing his skin. The figures from the void return, silent, their eyes hollow. They watch, their presence crushing his sanity. Every night, they come, whispering his lies, showing the lives he broke. Thorns bloom from his flesh, tearing him with each memory, his screams lost in the dark. He's not evil, just shattered, but the void doesn't care. It traps him in a cage of roots and pain, forever bound to the pity he chased, his mind unraveling until he's a husk, muttering to shadows that don't answer. I sweep the halls, the school scarred but standing, the riots fading. The boiler room's pipes hum their ancient song, and I feel her, the new girl, lingering. As she passes me in the empty corridor, her eyes meet mine, a spark of recognition in their depths. She pauses, her voice soft as falling leaves, heavy with shared ages. Still cleaning their chaos, old friend, she says, a faint smile like soil cracking after rain. Then she's gone, leaving a trail of dirt and silence. Greed always finds another soul, and I'll be here, scrubbing the stains, watching the shadows spread,